Real Estate Rewired.
Welcome to Real Estate Imagined with Gus Waite, where we talk about AI with a heart. And I've been talking to 100 real estate brokers and people in the commercial and residential space about what works, what doesn't work, how technology has changed the business over the last 30 years, what's going on with AI. Are you using it? Aren't you using it? What can it do? What can't it do? What do you want it to do? And having some fun. And today, we're joined by Blaine Cook. He is the president of Cook Commercial Realty. Blaine isn't your standard broker. He's a 30-year veteran who's handled the site selection for giants like Copart and complex assemblages in the Dallas area. But what's more interesting about Blaine is that he operates at the intersection of high-level brokerage and entrepreneurship. Blaine, I am really glad to have you here today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Gus. Great to be here.
All right. So here's my first. I always like to start with this question, but most of us in 8th grade don't go, I want to be a commercial real estate broker. So give me a little bit of background on how you got into this crazy business. What was the origin story?
Well, I think to answer that question, I have to let you know a little bit about my background. Early in the early days. I went to school in South Texas at a college down there called Texas A&I University, which is now Texas A&M Kingsville, and I didn't have any idea what I wanted to do. I just wanted to get my business degree and get out of there. And I went up to Houston and got a job with an oil company, and about a year into it, they transferred me to Dallas. And when I got to Dallas, this was about 84, 85, and Dallas was booming. I remember distinctly going up LBJ Freeway, which is much more traffic now than it was. Right. But I remember watching them build the Galleria Towers. And I go, man, that is, I was like, how do you do that? How do you develop? How do you buy land? How do you do all that? And I basically left that job about a year later and got my salesman license and just decided commercial real estate was the direction I wanted to go in. And I went to work and I started as a tenant rep back in the day. And that's kind of, real estate, commercial real estate for me is just fun. It's every day is different. I get to meet a lot of very nice, cool, fun people, and I just have a good time. I think it's just the entrepreneurial aspect of it. It's so entrepreneurial in it, and that's I think every year I love it more. If that answers your question.
Yeah, no, it does. And what's interesting to me, it was just that moment of fascination, right? Like, who buys the land? How do you land use and architectures and construction and money, and how do you put all these pieces together and then get people in there and decide why to build it on that plot of land and not on the other plot of land? I mean, there's a million pieces that go into it.
Exactly. And it's very unique to that particular deal.
So, well, here's my next question then. I mean, you've seen it pivot from, if you've been doing it since the mid-'80s, a Rolodex and a handshake to AI and data.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, no question. You don't go knocking on doors anymore like we used to do. I mean, you walk into a building, a 10-story building, and you go up every floor, knock on every door, hand them a business card, ask for a business card, and then try to make something happen from that interaction. That has not happened in years.
Well,
it's very different.
Yeah, and this is what I'm always curious about, Blaine, right? So obviously the technology has changed radically in the last 40 years. And yet there is a process in place, right? I mean, fundamentally, it's a process of putting pieces together. What is your process for understanding your process and how to improve it?
Boy, that's a good question. One thing I have learned about this business is it's a relationship business, and things don't happen instantly. They take a lot of time, and I'm a very impatient person, so this is something that I always struggle with is I want what I want now, but my prospect or customer, client, they're on their own schedule and their own priorities, and And I can't change any of that. All I can do is build the relationship. I have to be a very good listener. I have to understand where they are now and where they want to be in 6 months and where they want to be in 12 months. And I have to basically help them, solve their problem, whatever that may be. But I have to do it from a standpoint of really listening and understanding what they want, and then being that resource, hopefully that they can't live without, and making those kinds of processes happen so that they get whatever kind of lease or purchase or whatever that they want to do, 1031 exchange, just be there to make sure all that happens in that time frame.
So let me ask you this, because I'm curious about this. As AI gets better at more things, right? So let's assume that anything that can be done in front of a computer will soon be done better, quicker, more efficiently with AI. Research, comparisons, all of that stuff that we used to be the gatekeepers for, right? What piece of the commercial real estate journey do you think is a long, long way from being outsourced to AI?
Boy, that's it's such a hard subject to really try to figure out at this point, because I guess we're kind of in our infancy of it. But I know that part of my job is to offer common sense solutions, to do exactly what I'm asked to do, and to know, my value is I have to know the market. And AI, it may be perceived that it knows the market, but how can the market changes every day, and people come and go every day. So I think the relationship the trust, the relationship, the value that I think cannot be replaced by AI might be improved, because I think we all need to use it, because otherwise we'll be left behind. But right. I think you have to let it complement what you're already doing, and let it be an improvement. But the human interaction piece of it cannot go away, I don't think.
Well, and here's what I find interesting about it, right? Is if you look at any job, it's a series of tasks, right? Like you come in every day, there's certain things that you do every day. I don't know if you're like me, there's also certain things that I know I should be doing that I don't do because I don't like to do it and I procrastinate. And I think part of the challenge, and I'm just curious as to how you overcome this challenge, is with this speed of change, with the amount of new bells and whistles every day. There's some new thing. Oh my God, voice agents. Oh, AI agents. But don't do. There's just so much noise in the marketplace. Do you take time to really look at, hey, these are the processes that other people are automating that will serve my clients better, and then how do I integrate those into what I'm doing? Do you have a process for that, or is it just kind of, as things come along? Like, what's your process for improvement, I guess, is the question.
Well, one of the things I did last year that I probably should have done many years ago is I hired an assistant. Basically, she's a virtual assistant, and she's very good. I wanted to delegate some of that AI knowledge or interest in her, and let her tell me basically the questions that you're asking me. I mean, I want her to know the things that AI can do for us, specifically for us, that will help us do our jobs. So I basically have delegated most of that to my assistant, and she's very good at it. She's very adept to the things that we need to be doing. And so I don't necessarily have a process, because I have somebody that I trust that will do that for me and train me and educate me on the things I need to be doing differently in that respect.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm going to give you a little hint. This is a good one. So once a month, I do there's a function within ChatGPT, deep research. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
No.
Okay, Blaine, you got to watch this thing. It's unbelievable. Basically, what it does, so I give it the instruction, tell me what the top 1% of real estate brokers are doing in the United States, that the other 99% are not doing. And as you're watching it, it will tell you what it's reaching out to. I'm reading the Keller Williams blog. I'm reading page 182 to 267. I'm getting this information from Zillow and CoStar. It basically tells you what it's doing. And then it identifies what those trends are, whether it's predictive analytics, whether it's speed to lead, and then it sort of gives you even under the hood, like this is why these particular CRMs or whatever the information is. And I think one of the most valuable ways that I found to do this is to figure out the people that are investing hundreds or tens of millions of dollars in the commercial real estate space, the big players. What are they doing? And then say to your virtualist or your assistant, hey, look into these 2 or 3 things. Do a deep dive into predictive analytics. Which one of these is working? Which one's not working? How much does it cost? What are the downsides? Go onto Reddit. And you could even say that. Go into Reddit and tell me, what are people saying about House Whisperer? Is it good reviews? Is it bad reviews? So I think that's one, right? That's one of the ways to really, because I can also see, and I don't know if you've had this experience, Blaine, where you kind of go down into the weeds and all of a sudden you're going down some rabbit hole and you're like, oh, I need this thing, but I don't know how the hell. Do I really? What does it do? How much does it cost?
Yeah. That's those are. I had a conversation this morning with my VA exactly about that, and because it's New Year's, it's January 2nd. Here we are, all trying to set our goals and New Year's resolutions. Those are kind of some of the things that we're talking about, that we're hopefully going to do.
Now, Blaine, give me a little picture of who you're working with right now, a team, a big agency, like where are you at in that space?
So I'm basically a lone wolf, sole proprietor. I chose to be with EXP Commercial because of the platform. When EXP Commercial was created to take care of the commercial side of the business with their own platforms and their own leadership. This was about 2023. I decided I liked the platform, but I didn't like the fact that it was kind of like the same. Are you a residential agent or are you a commercial? I really wanted there to be some separation, because people get confused about what we do. I always tell people, one of the first things I tell them is I don't do any residential. I just don't do it. And so, 2023, I affiliated with EXP Commercial, and I have to say, it's been a great platform for the sole proprietor type of broker like me. I always try to mentor some people and bring some people on. So I always try to have a couple of junior brokers helping me out, and so I can give them leads and teach them some of the things I know. But I'm very happy with my network of brokers. Dallas has a lot of great EXP Commercial brokers, and I feel like if I ever have to chase a deal that I need some help, I can call on a broker in Austin, Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, and we can kind of team up on a deal if it's required. So
let me ask you this: for someone coming into commercial real estate brand new, we had a lot of advantages in that. For me, when I was starting in New York, the only thing I had to do was show up at the office 5 minutes before the managing broker, and he gave me all the leads that came in overnight from his voicemail because I was the only one in the office. So pretty quickly you could establish, like, I'm a hustler, I'm going to go out and do it.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things. You talked about knocking on doors. So for a new commercial agent coming in, what would you say is the most important first year strategy for them to get some leverage and to get moving? I'm glad you asked. And I think it's very clear what a new agent should be doing fundamentally. Fundamentally, you should pick a good mentor. Now that means if it's a mentor within a big shop, it means your commission splits are going to be divvied up more because you have higher splits. Or if you choose a mentor like me that it's just me, and that's fine also. You have a mentor. You have a mentor that can walk you through your first 12 to 24 months. Preferably,
for me, I'd rather they have at least a year's experience. That way I don't have to start from the very bottom with, go pick your farm, go pick your type of industry, your vertical. I mean, they have to know what they want to do in commercial real estate. Do they want to do sales? Do they want to do tenant rep? What verticals do they want to do? Do they want to do industrial? Do they want to do office? Do they want to do retail? Do they want to do land? And then again, pick a good mentor, and then pick your farm. Where do you want to spend your time? Where did you want to? And then you still need to knock on doors. So you're going to go pick your farm, and then you're going to get to know all those people, those users, and those business people in that farm, and build a relationship with them, and know that farm like the back of your hand. So I think I say this every time. It's, you've got to do 3 or 4 major things when you first start, and then don't expect results overnight. It's a slow process. It takes a lot of patience, and it takes a lot of perseverance and inner strength, and maybe and then of course you can build your network. You can start going to broker functions. You can start going to Chamber of Commerce. You can start going to different networking groups, and you obviously don't want to just get to know real estate people. You want to get to know all sorts of different types of commercial of business owners and commercial businesses through your networking and you're knocking on doors.
It's interesting. I was just talking to a guy out in California earlier today. $5 billion a year in transactions. He's got a team of 60 in residential, and one of the things he's doing, and I'm just thinking out loud here, is he identifies the local businesses within the target areas for his agents that have 4.5 stars or more in dog walking, landscaping, chimney repair or whatever. And when he does the newsletter, he geo-targets whatever area they're working on. He's pushing those vendors out to the people that live in those neighborhoods. So obviously, if someone's got a dog walking thing and they overhear that Sally's selling because June just went off to college, who do you think they're going to call, right?
Yes.
And so, I mean, in essence, that's what I hear you saying. It's important to be out there on the street talking to people, letting them know this is what you do.
Yes, every day. And weekends too.
Exactly. All right. So let me ask you this. The Pilgrim's Pride Project, what was that?
So 2016, I was working in the Cedars area of basically just south of downtown Dallas, and I came across this big, very much closed in weeds going everywhere, this Pilgrim's Pride plant that was not 3 blocks from downtown Dallas, just on the south side of 30. And I'm going, this is a diamond in the rough. I don't know exactly what you're going to do with this property, but at some point it's going to be worth a lot of money because it's so close to downtown, and it was about 8+ acres of land contiguous. So I basically did what we just talked about. I got on the phone. I probably had to go through 3 or 4 different Pilgrim's Pride affiliates to get to the right one. In fact, the name of the company who bought Pilgrim's Pride, I found it just again through this cold calling track, and the guy was out of, I think it was Golden, Colorado. And they didn't know what they hadn't done anything, and they didn't know what they were going to do with it. And they basically bought Pilgrim's Pride out of bankruptcy. So this was on their back burner. They didn't really know what they were going to do with it. And I think the problem was that plant had some environmental issues that that it was cheaper to close it than to remodel it and rescale it. And so the guy said, make me an, I said, what do you want for this? And the guy said, make me an offer. So I went out into the market, and I found a developer that was active, and I said, this is something you need to take a look at. And from let's just say mid 2016, it took about 3 years from beginning to end. There were some extensions along the way. As you know, when you have a big deal, things happen. Environmental issues, you have to do phase 1, phase 2. You have to do a lot of different things environmentally. You have to hire the right people. But about 3 years later, the developer closed on it, and it's still kind of in the process of, I think, being retooled to figure out what he's going to do with it. But it's a nice piece of property just south of downtown Dallas.
So let me ask you this mindset, right? Everybody wants an instant deal. They're watching, this doesn't for commercial, but watching $1 million listing and thinking, hey, I'm going to get into real estate and I'm going to bang out a big deal and put $250,000 in my pocket. This is a 3-year process where how many times did it look like the deal was going to fall apart within those 3 years?
How many fingers do I have on my hands?
Right? So give me the mindset when you're working that hard on something that potentially, I'm assuming, was going to have a big payday at the end of it. And unexpected obstacles pop up. What's your sort of mindset on how to handle that internally?
First of all, you have to be kind of crazy to be in this business.
Right.
But the thing that you, first of all, you don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? Mm-hmm. I had other deals I was always working on during these 3 years because this deal could crater at any minute, and there's no if you eat what you kill. If you close it, you make money. If you don't close it, you don't make any money. So right. You have to have a pipeline of deals going so that you can survive and make a living while you're waiting on these big deals to happen or not. So it's again to keep the pipe. It's the fundamentals. Work on the pipeline. Keep working on other deals. And if you're lucky and if you're patient and if you have good people, good vendors and good clients, you're bound to do some deals.
Well, that's interesting that you should say that, right? So one of the things that I've in looking at, did I mention the top? Yeah, I mentioned to you the top 1% of brokers, right? So the sort of bottom line stuff these days is speed to lead. Where is that call going? Is it going into your voicemail at 8 o'clock on a Saturday, and then you're at church on Sunday, and you're going to watch the football game, and you call back Monday, and now they've called 12 other people? So one of the things they've really mastered is if someone reaches out, getting back to them, and the statistics show within 30 seconds to 45 seconds, or there's a 400% drop-off in reply. Secondly is most people's current CRM, it's just a bunch of stuff parked in there. It's kind of like the basement, like I should get down in there and clean it up, but I don't quite ever get to it. Forget about actually segmenting it, identifying who to stay in touch with, why to stay in touch with them, how to stay in touch with them, how to stay in touch with them with information that's relevant to them and not just, hey, here's my gingerbread recipe for Christmas. And then, of course, there's the drip marketing, the referrals, and then reaching out to other people. So that whole process, have you begun to automate that for yourself using AI?
Boy, you talk about good timing for this conversation. I have been slow to adapt to a really good CRM, specifically that for my industry and what I do. And I've been using through my assistant. She got me on Salesforce, and I'm trying to be better at doing what I need to be doing within the CRM to bring value of the CRM, which means putting in all those notes and I don't know that AI has to have a lot to do with it because it's all automatically driven by what you do to prompt it to do the next thing. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking at some different. We're talking about some different. Actually, there's EXP has a couple of different CRM packages that are available, and there's one in particular that we're looking at right now to do just that. But I don't know that it has a whole lot to do with AI. It just has a lot to do with touching the client and having good follow-up messages, email, text, phone calls. And I could always improve that. I'm terrible at that. I wish I need to get better. But I want to say one thing about those brokers that don't call people back. Mm-hmm. I don't think I've ever not called back even a broker or a prospect or whatever I don't think it's ever taken me longer than an hour to 2 hours to call somebody back on any given day, including the weekends and nights. I don't understand, if you're in this business, that you're not returning those phone calls in the first 5 or 10 seconds, or at least within the first 1 or 2 hours. I don't understand it, because like you said, the drop off of not getting that return phone call or no follow up is happens earlier than later. It has to be done. So I mean,
well, yeah, and here's the other thing, Blaine. This is what I'm finding when you sort of really dig under the hood, right? So in the residential space, and where I'm going to get to this is sort of ownership of your own data. Is follow-up boss was, sold as, hey, we're going to do the follow-up for you. We're going to do the follow-up. Great, great, great. But it was owned by private equity, and any real estate platform that's owned by private equity is eventually looking to sell to either Zillow or CoStar. And the reason Zillow's buying it is because now you read the new terms and Zillow says, hey, guess what? Your clients are now our clients, because they went on Zillow 9 years ago and did a search for a house, so we have access to that data. And as those bigger players get better at utilizing AI to get to your customers before you, they're going, not because they don't like Blaine, but just because people are busy, and this guy called and he said he's got a property. Oh, I went and saw it. Oh, it worked out for me and I took it. Hey, Blaine, I love you, but geez, we weren't really in touch. And so I think that's one of the key things that I'm seeing is the big players in this space, even the main folks at Compass who are doing $5 billion a year, recognize the importance of owning your own data, your database, your systems. And I guess that's one of the questions I have for you. The challenge is when you're in an EXP or a Keller Williams or a Compass, they have lots and lots of tools, but which ones are worth using? How much do you want to use them? Are they going to change after you use them? And how important it is for you to set up your own process in your own database, your own way, plug in what they have, but not rely on them. What do you think about that?
I think you just answered your own question. I mean, we all have to find what works for us and what we're drawn to, and there's always going to be a lot of choices about which CRM, which level of CRM do you need the free level or do you need the premium level, and what data are you going to be able to keep once you go either leave EXP or leave Salesforce or whatever. And you're right, it's important that we own the data, because the data is that's the value of any CRM, is the data. And I'm not the best person to tell you what CRM platform is the best for what I do, but I'm trying to be open-minded to find the ones that add the most value at the cheapest price, that are offered through EXP or some other source.
Yeah, and this is also, I think, where the challenge is, Blaine, and tell me if you've experienced this, is it's kind of being humble and starting with, all right, can it automate 10%? This is the analogy I use. If I'm 300 pounds overweight, I'm not going to go train for a triathlon and go to Bikram yoga today. Like, I need to actually put, where's the gym in my GPS? And actually, I don't even have to go into the gym. Just drive there and go, oh, there it is. I'll start tomorrow. And I feel like it's the same way with the AI stuff. It can be so overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like for me, when the people that I'm working with, like one of the first things once we figure out which CRM is the one is like, hey, let's go into your current database and actually segment these out. Who do I want to stay in touch with? Who's important? Because as you know, in your database, there's probably 100 people that are really important to you. And I don't know how many thousands that, maybe not. But how are you segmenting it out so that the people that are important to you, you're staying in touch with them in a way that's relevant to them and not sitting there putting tags on people's names, because you're not going to do it. I don't know about you, but I'm not going to do it.
Again, we just had this conversation this morning. We're going to take the baby steps. We're going to put the chip into the phone, and we're going to find that client and do the baby steps, because it's not going to work if it's too much, too overwhelming. Right. I have a question for you. I know you do some commercial, correct?
Yes.
Tell me about a CRM that you've seen that you like that maybe I should take a look at.
I like Go High Level, and it's Go High Level. And what I like about it, Blaine, is a couple of things. And this is one of the things that I do when I do the consulting. It can actually live underneath anybody's current setup, right? So what I find, the heavy lift is like, okay, moving from this CRM to this CRM, and now I got new user interfaces, and it's just too much. I'm just not, I don't want to do it. What I like about Go High Level is that it can live underneath, and then we basically say, okay, not how to do it, what do I want to do, right? And again, I go with the speed to lead, the cleaning up the database in terms of segmenting it. Then what do I want to say with people? How do I want to say it? And how do I automate it? And ultimately, Blaine, get people in front of you. Because at the end of the day, I need to be having a conversation with someone. You know, AI can only take it so far.
Right.
But I'll use this call as a perfect example. I have no idea how we ended up talking to each other. AI does it all. I have no idea, and I have no interest in learning how. Like, that's what my team does, right? I say, listen, put people on my calendar that fit this profile that I want to talk to. We're going to have a podcast, have some fun, see what they're doing. At the end of it, they either go, hey, Gus, let's have a conversation. I want to hire you to do my AI stuff. Or they're doing more than me. And I go, oh, my God, this happened to me today. I was talking to this guy. I'm like, oh, House Whisperer is better than Fellow? Yeah, why? Well, because when I did Fellow, this and this and this happened. And what about AI voice agents? Well, I don't like them because people know it's a robot, so I'm doing this. So I think the other part, Blaine, to answer your question, is Go High Level. But I think as important is what is the process. You don't want to be too quick to adopt, right? Google Glasses. Oh, everybody needs, and then people go, oh my God. On the other hand, you can't be 3 years behind people. You know what I mean? So it's right. It's finding that, like, okay, what can I do?
Right.
And then what things are improving, and why I like Go High Level is because it plugs into everything. So what I'm finding, Blaine, is, for instance, if your VA did what are the best AI tools for commercial real estate brokers, it would pop them out.
Right.
Then the question is, okay, this is a great tool, but I don't really need this tool. Sounds great, but that's not my thing. Here is something that could potentially work. Oh, they want $5,000 a month? No, that ain't going to work. Well, hey, Gus, this thing says they'll do this. They want to charge me $5,000, but I only need this 10% done. How do we now create something that makes that happen? That's where I'm seeing people who are successful are in that space.
Couldn't agree more, Gus. And that's a struggle I think we all have. Is you don't want to be 3 years behind, but you don't want to be up in the clouds going, what do I do? You just have to, like this call, for instance. I'm hoping somebody that hears this, sees this podcast, will get, if they could just get 3 or 4 things of value out of it, that's good enough. I mean, that's really all that's what you want in your audience, and that's what I want. I want people to get some value out of it. And by the way, you and I met on LinkedIn, which is another really good connecting platform, as you know. And that's the reason that you and I are talking right now, is because of LinkedIn.
There we go. And that's all automated, and that's done behind the scenes, and it's done by my VA. And I'll tell you what, it's even interesting. I've created a little gem in Gemini where I've put in the profile of who I would like to talk to. And when people reach out, I cut and paste your link into that gem and go, should I talk to Blaine? And it either gives me green light, yellow light, or red light.
I love it.
And it lets me know in 2 seconds, you should have a conversation with this guy. This is his deal. So how much time would that take, Blaine? For me to go in? Well, you could do it.
No. I think from the people that I've talked to so far, you're the most succinct commercial real estate industry veteran who has figured out the AI piece of it more than anybody. So, I mean, I think you probably, or you can consult with a lot of people just on AI, but from the standpoint of what should I do in commercial real estate going forward with AI, you're the guy that I think has some good answers and some good roadmaps for guys like me to follow.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate that, Blaine. And you know what the good thing about it is? Nobody knows what the hell they're doing. I mean, I listened to Demis Hassabis, who created Google DeepMind, and Sam Altman, and you listen to these guys and you realize they don't know where the hell it's going either. And I think what I love to do is, and this is the piece that I enjoy, is okay, there's all this theory and okay, we're not going to have jobs in 10 years and AI, all of that stuff. And yet really, and this is my sort of tagline with it, how do you use AI to turn what you love into a superpower and take what you hate off your plate? And that's just a process of getting in the weeds and like, did you see the Ray Kroc movie, The Founder?
I did.
Remember when he sets up the restaurant on the tennis court to see, okay, if the guy turns around, he's going to run into the coffee machine, or right? And like really going deep, deep, deep into the exact process and then choosing what part of that process can be done better by AI without losing Blaine. Because people love Blaine. They want to work with Blaine. He's been doing this for 40 years.
Again, I couldn't have said any better, and I agree with you. I've learned a lot on this podcast, and I know you've been the one asking most of the questions, but I've learned a lot just by being with you.
Well, I appreciate that, and it's interesting. Like I said, I've gone from talking to people who are like, AI, I don't care, I'm scared of it, shut up, don't talk about it, to people who are all of a sudden teaching me what systems they have in place where I'm going, really? It could do that? There's a program for it. It only costs $60 a month. Oh my God, you know what I mean? So the space is interesting. It's an interesting space to be in because there's always someone who knows more, and there's always someone that I can help if, depending on where they're at.
No, I think we're heading into a new frontier that has a lot of possibilities, and we could spend all our time saying AI is going to take 90% of the jobs away. But why don't we just figure out how to do our jobs better, more 100%. Productively, and not worry about what it's not going to do or what the negatives are, but how we can make our job easier, smarter, better, all that.
Absolutely. Blaine, this has been a phenomenal conversation. I can't tell you how much I appreciate talking to the old veterans like myself. It's fun to remember back in the day knocking on doors and putting ads in newspapers.
Well, I guess I'm glad we're through with those days, but those were good days to learn.
Yes.
Those were days that people in our industry will never know about because they weren't there. And it's kind of like life. We've been through. I've been through 4 corrections. I'm sure you've been through at least 4. And those you have to go through some of those things. You have to experience some down times. You have to experience some high interest rate times and vacancy, high vacancy times to understand what the future holds. And I mean, talking to people like you like me, it's fascinating.
Yep. And I feel for younger people trying to get into it because it did, quote unquote, move slower. Yes. And there was, and this is the sad part to me, and this has always been the sad part about as technology is, real estate really was the American dream. I mean, it was work hard, you're your own boss, and if you put in the time, the first 5 years, you're not making squat, and you're putting in 100 hours a week. But if you've got a passion for it, over time, you start to figure it out, and over time, you're making some money, and over time, you feel good about what you're doing. And I feel like tech came in and took a lot of that opportunity away, and that part makes me feel sad. You know what I mean? Like,
would you say that was the mid '90s to when would you say that?
To me, I think it was when techies realized real estate. I mean, what a crazy! It was a very inefficient system. I mean, I grew up in New York City real estate. Forget about it. I mean, somebody would move out of an apartment, and the super was getting paid off by the guy at the next desk, so he would give them the key the day before they moved out, and they'd have the apartment rented and sold before it even got into the I'm over there putting up pictures, and they're going, gosh, we rented that last night. How did you rent it last night? Well, because, Vito got a little envelope with $50 in it, and, so there was a game within a game within a game that you had to learn, and you had to figure it out, but you had time.
Yes.
Then Zillow came along.
Yes.
And all of a sudden now there's a barrier between me and the consumer. There's the consumer now thinks, hey, all the information is on the internet. I don't need a broker. Why am I going to pay this guy? they didn't realize the nuances. Is it a condo? Is it a co-op? Is there a board package? Will they take a foreign national? What if you have bad credit? They take a dog, but if it's more than 10 pounds, they won't take the dog unless there's a million variations of, as you know, how to put a deal together.
You're right.
And it's only after 1,000 failures that you can foresee, hey, guess what, Mr. Tenant? This ain't going to work because there's only 4 parking spots and you have 8 chairs in your foot massage place. Well, where are the other 4 people going to park, right? I mean, right? It comes down to that.
You're right. You're right.
All right. Well, Blaine, I really appreciate your time. It's been fantastic. I'm going to stop it now. How do people get in touch with you, Blaine, if they're looking for...
Thank you.
Yeah.
Gus, thank you for this time that we had, and I really would like to stay in touch with you and do this again sometime when we have something to talk about. Other than Blaine Cook, Cook Commercial Realty. Phone number is 214-797-9449. My email address is blaine.cook@expcommercial. Call, email, text. I take them all. And be happy to talk to anybody about any kind of commercial real estate needs that come up.
Blaine, thank you. And hold on, I'm going to say goodbye to our audience, but I'm going to talk to you after this. Thank you so much for joining us on Real Estate Rewired with Gus Waite, AI with a Heart. If you like the show, please go ahead and hit subscribe. And if you'd like to be on the show, reach out to me on LinkedIn, DM me, comment on the channel. And once again, Blaine, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Gus.
If you've got value from today's episode, hit subscribe, leave a comment. I'd love to know what you're thinking. If you're ready to turn what you love into your superpower and take what you hate off your plate, schedule your free AI discovery call. The link is in the description and pinned comment. I'm Gus Waite. Until next time.